Well, hello there. The people have spoken. Today, we're taking a look at every single video game where you can be the Punisher. And oh boy, is this a wild one. We will take a look at some classic rail shooters, iconic beat 'em up arcade games, believe it or not, a PlayStation 3 exclusive Punisher game, which I had no idea existed until now, and a lot more different goods. Without any more delay, let's dive in. First up, we're starting with the first ever official Punisher game, released in 1990 for DOS systems on floppy disks. The game starts in Punisher's hideout, where you get reports on various criminals out on the loose and their address of operation. You then have to choose to go outside and actually type out the address from memory, which then puts you out into the world where you can walk freely throughout the city, find and punish the criminals on your mission, with the main goal reaching the ultimate villain, Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin. Every time you succeed or fail, you go back to the base and restart your journey. There's also a driving option for you to catch criminals who are inside a vehicle, and that's about it. And what can I say? The game is kinda hard to play. You will likely not attempt to launch it in the modern day unless you have nostalgia for it, but it definitely seems creative, I'll give him that. What's crazy is in 1991 the game was deemed harmful for young gamers in Germany and indexed into their blacklist, which is impressive. Punisher was making controversial waves even back then, huh? Moving on, second Punisher game was out just a few months later on Nintendo Entertainment System, simply titled The Punisher once again. In here, we choose one of the three levels and move on to an over-shoulder view as the game rails us through various locations where we need to shoot everything we see as soon as possible. And by everything, I mean literally. As long as something moves, shoot it. Collateral damage does not exist. The only real thing you need to worry about is running out of bullets or losing too much health. And the game gives you a generous 5 lives at the beginning, so I felt pretty safe most of the time, not gonna lie. A couple of interesting things is the fact that you can collect daily bugle magazines that give you hints at hidden levels. And once you enter those hidden levels, like a subway station for example, you can get a faster shooting gun and additional health. But overall, I was kind of falling asleep on the second level already, and the game is just very fit for its time, let's just say that. It's still not something I can recommend playing in modern day in my opinion. Same can be said for its twin brother, released for Game Boy same year, titled Punisher Ultimate Payback. The one key difference being though the fact that our boss in the game is Spider-Man. Like he just finds us and immediately gives us commands. Frank, go there, help these people, help out people in the mall, blah blah blah, and well, you just go there and shoot everything that moves once again. Spider-Man himself does swing by from time to time to save hostages, but then points us at the next target and bails, once again, leaving us to shoot as many people as possible. Silly wall crawler must think we're using rubber bullets or something. Anyways, the game would be another skip for me, not really worth it. What will not be a skip though is a 1993 Punisher arcade game. This was the first time I've actually had fun out of all the games so far, and thank God for it, cause I've never tried this game before. In its essence, this is a classic beat 'em up, where you punch enemies till they can't stand up. But the key fun difference for me is that there's well, a lot of weapons to use. You can find pistols, machine guns, knives, bats, flamethrowers, you name it. Punisher's ultimate ability is just a freaking grenade that destroys everything on the screen. And goddamn, that's just a lot of fun, I can't lie. Another big plus is an enemy variation. There's normal thugs, robots, kung fu guys, ninjas, women ninjas, the list goes on and on. As we progress through levels and wipe out dozens and dozens of enemies, Frank finds out that Kingpin is behind all of the mess, as always, and our goal is to take him down. Overall, this is a pretty high-octane game that will not let you get bored easily, and it's my first strong recommendation for a Punisher game. Currently it is available on Steam in a bundle called Marvel vs. Capcom Classic Collection, and if you have a friend to play with, unlike me, you can invite them to play with you. They'll choose Nick Fury as the second playable character, so once again, I'd recommend trying it. With that, let's move on to something a little special I discovered. Punisher No Mercy is a PlayStation 3 exclusive released in 2009, and oh my god, this is something. I was wondering why I never played this game and not even heard about it much until now. But the thing is, the game was planned as a pure multiplayer shooter, designed to be somewhat of a new Call of Duty, I guess. And that did not age well at all. Of course the servers are down for a decade or so now, so I was a bit cautious, but thankfully there's a story mode, and as the game starts, the sour disappointment kicks in. The story mode is just a multiplayer match, simply fit into a shell of a story. The game works like this. A 2D cutscene plays, you are put into a team deathmatch. A 2D cutscene plays, you are put into a free-for-all. You die, you respawn immediately, and do it all again, and again. And all of this is against NPCs. And if the first match was somewhat fun, by the time the second one hits, I was already kind of dozing off. The gameplay is extremely rigid. All you can do is shoot, crouch, and melee. That's it. You pick up health packs throughout the map, some small power-ups here and there, and just keep on going. Every time you die, you can customize your loadout and choose a new weapon, which the game has a whole lot of 4 main weapons to choose from. And it's just depressing. I did finish the game though, so let me tell you all of the story it has. Punisher finds out that Jigsaw is up to something, so he tracks his buddies Bushwhacker and Barracuda to question them. But Silver Sable interrupts and starts shooting everything. First multiplayer match. He then gets both of them down and pretty much finishes them off. Another multiplayer match. He then tracks another villain, Finley guy, whatever his name is, and finishes him off too, while being shot with a tranquilizer in the back. Another multiplayer match. He then snaps out of it and finds Jigsaw's hideout. Yet another multiplayer match. The final cutscene plays, with Punisher stabbing Jigsaw and S.H.I.E.L.D. appearing to confront him. The end. And yeah, it seems short, but let me tell you why. Because it is. But what's more, it ends up being extremely painful and boring to play through. You see, in these multiplayer matches you play in between cutscenes, you need to eliminate more than 100 NPCs every time. Like, a typical game mode will say, eliminate 150 opponents before the time expires, or eliminate 20 waves of enemies in 20 minutes. They try so hard to stretch this game for as long as possible, and yet it still ends up being for about 2 hours or so. Overall, it's honestly a horrible experience. You're able to unlock new characters from multiplayer, and I did, but they're basically exactly the same character, using the same weapons, with the exception of Bushwhacker, who can use a special arm weapon, and with the exception that they all have different voice lines when you perform kills. But that's about it. This is everything you need to know about the Punisher No Mercy. This game is a disgrace, and the last standalone Punisher game we've ever received. Which is just sad. Alright, let's move on. The Punisher, a third-person shooter released in 2005, 4 years prior to the horrible experience we just saw. And quite honestly, this game is an actual masterpiece in contrast. Back when I was a younger lad playing PS2 all day long, I replayed this game at least 5 times, and I can see why. The way it starts as Punisher walks through the greedy streets of Hell's Kitchen, complaining at life and at all the dirt he sees, wishing to get rid of all of it. This game really makes you feel the spirit of Frank Castle from the comics, and I love it.
But it's not real. The old New York is waiting just below the surface. There's nothing to help you when the darkness falls. You're laid open so the world can rummage in your guts. Just because the mayor chased away the monsters, chased them to Brooklyn and the Bronx, don't think this place has changed. Not in its heart. Not where it lives. Do not fall in New York City. No one's gonna catch you.
It has a very lengthy story with nearly a dozen levels that are filled, ranging from streets of New York, to Punisher's hideout, to Kingpin's skyscraper, to a tropical island filled with bounty hunters, to a Yakuza-invaded ninja temple, to Stark Tower where Iron Man flies around and shoots people. This game is a Punisher's fan dream. It has cameos from Nick Fury when you and him team up to shoot up dozens of criminals on an island. It has Daredevil making an appearance trying to be Punisher's lawyer. Jigsaw in an Iron Man's armor being a flying menace for a whole level. This game is amazing. And I'll try to stop fanboying for now. Let's talk specifics. It is once again a third-person shooter. You choose a weapon at the start of each level, but the ammo starts running low pretty quickly. So you have to get weapons from the fallen enemies as you continue your journey. There are dozens of different weapon types you can find throughout the levels and add to your collection, There are full-on dismemberment physics, so shooting never really gets that old and is always kind of fun. The game has a very controversial and unique interrogation mechanic, with dozens of different options to hurt the bad guys and make them tell you what they want, and when they do, you still get to end them because you're the Punisher after all. The story itself goes around Punisher trying to track down and understand Jigsaw's plan, and while you do that, you get to take down multiple organizations, including Nucci's Italian gang family, the Russian gang family, Kingpin's forces, Yakuza, and finally Jigsaw himself. I don't want to go too much into spoilers, but I can tell you one thing. If you never played this game and want to get a good Punisher experience, even 20 years later, this is the best option you have. There is simply nothing better made for you to feel like the Punisher. Strong second recommended game for me after the arcade one. And with that, let's move on. Now that we've covered all standalone Punisher games, time to move on to his appearances in other video games. First game on the list is Marvel Heroes Omega, a Diablo-like I mentioned multiple times before, and Punisher is a character here once again. You punish enemies, level up, and unlock new skills. In this case, new weapons. You get stronger, and with these you carry on with the story mode or special events like in a typical Diablo game. It has its fun, and if you enjoy this kind of game, go for it. The game is currently hosted on Tahiti fan servers as official servers are shut down, so the game is completely free, and everything can be unlocked through gameplay. And the Punisher was actually the first character I completed in this game, which was a lot of fun. Moving on, we've got Marvel Ultimate Alliance series. Punisher officially joins the roster only in the third game in form of a DLC, together with Moon Knight and Blade, and he's a solid addition. He uses smoke bombs, assault rifle, sniper rifle, knife, pretty much almost anything you can think of. You can play the entire game with him and the team, and if you have a Switch, I can strongly recommend it. Now, not exactly officially, I can also recommend playing the first Marvel Ultimate Alliance game. You see, Punisher is a mod there, but quite honestly, he feels like a fully fledged out character. He has all voice lines, full range of weapons and multiple skins. I had a special kind of blast using shotguns to take down those Ultron robots and Doom bots. Marvel Ultimate Alliance in my opinion is the best game in the series, and I'm glad Punisher can be playable here. This is another strong recommendation from me. Moving on, we have LEGO Marvel Superhero Game, and in here Punisher is portrayed in a very PG-3 approach. You see, he is very tired from all these terrible trucks polluting the environment, so he asks you to take his environmentally friendly truck and punish those smoke-spitting machines, and once you do, you unlock him and his truck. Frank is a fairly simple character here, like the rest. Other than the fact that he has a gun, there's pretty much nothing else going for him, but the quest itself was pretty creative, I'll give him that. Finally, the game I'm sure everyone is aware about, we have Marvel Rivals, where Frank plays like a strong DPS, with an ult you might hear in your nightmares as you rush for the cover, scared to be erased in a second. That's right, he is judge, jury, and execute, and that's it for your mainline console and computer games. Moving on, I will be reviewing Punisher in something I'm sure you saw coming, especially if you saw my previous videos. I don't want to leave no stone unturned, so we're diving into mobile games. First up, we've got Marvel Contest of Champions, a pseudo-fighting mobile game, and there are exactly two Punisher versions available to you here, Classic version and Punisher 2099. What's worth noting though is that Classic Punisher is basically a trophy champion. There is a 0.0001% chance or some crap like that you will actually get him from opening a bunch of gacha crystals. And yes, it's this kind of game. But lucky for you, I've played the game for years and I actually got him. And what can I say? He is sort of fun. His first skill is shooting a Desert Eagle, second is shooting a rifle and dual SMGs, and in his third skill he pummels his enemy into the wall and does a grenade launcher shot. He has one cool mechanic where he becomes unkillable once he reaches 1% health and can continue the fight for some time, but that's about it. He's once again a trophy champion, and an old one at that, so he is rarely seen in the game anymore. His second iteration, Punisher 2099, is a lot more readily available, and is a much stronger champion in fact. He has double futuristic assault rifles in his skills and is able to basically silence your opponent's skills if they reach third bar of power. So yeah, unlike Moon Knight and Daredevil, Punisher has some place in the meta in this game, surprisingly. Next mobile game on the list is Marvel Snap, and Punisher is a card here, just like everyone else. He's somewhat special though, because he's one of the very first cards any player who joins the game gets, and his whole idea is that he becomes stronger the more cards the opponent lays on this lane. Overall, he has a somewhat decent place in the meta in my opinion, and can be fun to create decks with. Finally, we've got Marvel Strike Force, the only Marvel mobile game I've not played in a few years, so forgive me if I'm rusty, Strike Force players. I usually put Punisher together with my defenders, and I think I played it somewhat well. Punisher has a great AoE attack, basically shooting all enemies at once, and a decent grenade launcher attack that is very likely to end someone for good. Overall, he's been in the game for a long time, so I'd assume he is likely obsolete as well, but I've heard the new version of Punisher is coming to the game soon from the Born Again TV show. Not sure well enough though. Another mobile game would be Marvel Future Fight, and this game legit has the most Punishers you could even dream of, which is kinda crazy. We have Cosmic Ghost Rider Punisher, who is actually Frank Castle, as you know if you read the comics. We have Punisher War Machine, we have Punisher Samurai, and a lot more. The combat on some of them also feels really damn good, I'm not gonna lie. And with such crazy variations, the biggest variations out of any mobile game, I really feel bad that this is a mobile game. I'd wanna play this more, honestly. And with that, we're wrapping up the mobile games. I seriously don't recommend anyone to play them, but if you do, you have an option to play as the Punisher. Yep. Time to enter my favorite section, which is the world of mods. I've already mentioned the mod for Marvel Ultimate Alliance, but in reality, there are a lot more. You see, Punisher mods are pretty endless because you can put that silly skull texture on pretty much anything. You can have it in Mad Max, you can have it in Mass Effect, you can have it in Devil May Cry, you can even have it in the freaking Dark Souls. But it doesn't mean you will actually be the Punisher. It's just a silly texture slapped on pretty much everything in games. So I dug a bit deeper and found somewhere where you can have a somewhat good Punisher experience, like I always try to do. My first pick is funny enough Fallout 4. There are multiple presets to actually start the game as Frank, depending on which look you want more, and let me remind you that this game is about a parent who lost his family, so I think it fits rather well depending on how you play the game. Next up, Punisher in Arkham Knight. Yes, he fits quite well instead of Red Hood in my opinion, and you can apply the same formula to him that I did in my Daredevil and Moon Knight videos. Oh, and as a cherry on top, you can also slap Punisher's texture on a SWAT simulator game called Ready or Not, and well, pretend you're part of a Fisk's new task force, just like in a Born Again TV show? Yeah, that's an option too. Good luck with that. And believe it or not, that's all I can recommend. I don't think Frank Castle would fit well in Sifu like Moon Knight or Daredevil did. Neither do I think he would fit well in something like Skyrim. But you have these options as well if you'd really like. So let's go back and once again go over all the games I actually recommend playing as the Punisher. First pick, classic Punisher Arcade, which will be even better with a friend. Following up by a masterpiece, The Punisher from 2005. Going away from standalone, I can strongly recommend the first and third Marvel Ultimate Alliance games, as well as Marvel Heroes Omega, if you like Diablo-like gameplay that is. Finally, we've got Marvel Rivals to scratch your PvP itch, but that's about it. Everything else I've played through will be pretty subjective and I cannot say I'd recommend bothering with it like I did. Unless of course, you really want to. And that's about it. Would love to hear if I missed any other Punisher experiences from you, and just like always, I'd really appreciate your like and subscription. If you enjoyed the video, see you next time. Bye bye.